morning, or depending on when you're watching this, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. My name's Ross, and as always told, out of Voice of the Radio. So today, we are looking at a Pokemon, right, that, quite frankly, I did not think we would be seeing anytime soon. We're talking about Greedent V. Who actually thought that Greedent V was gonna be getting a V? Who thought we were getting Greedent V? Frankly, ladies and gentlemen, I did not. But Greedent's kind of adorable, so I'm willing to allow it. Because, you know, Pokemon definitely listen to me when they're trying to plan what cards to make. And the thing is that we've already seen one Greedent that lets you search out any tool that you like. And another Greedent that lets you discard a tool attached to the defending Pokemon. So clearly then, this Greedent must have something to do with Pokemon tools. No, actually nothing whatsoever to do with Pokemon tools. It's a little bit of a ruse and it's a little bit weird, but never mind. Because we're getting a Greedent V, and I, for one, am delighted. Now, stop me if you've heard this one before, but our translation comes from the lovely Antoine Boulet. And if we start off having a little bit of a look at the basics, we've got 200 HP, which is slightly on the lower end for a Pokemon V. A retreat cost of 2, which at least does mean we can use Air Balloon for free retreat. And a weakness to fighting, which is not good. Vikavolt V right now is one of many, many really good fighting weak Pokemon that we've got right now. This is not a good time to have a weakness to fighting because there are too many other good Pokemon with a weakness to fighting. They will end up getting you hit for weakness too. Add to that, you are a colorless Pokemon, so you're not hitting anything for weakness yourself. You do have powerful colorless energy. It gives an extra 20 damage to colorless Pokemon, in the same way that strong energy used to give an extra 20 to fighting Pokemon, but the stats here are not particularly strong. But I do like the first attack. 2 colorless energy, 40 damage, discarded energy from your opponent's active Pokemon. Oh. This is actually really good. It is rare that we see automatic energy discard. We see plenty of energy discard, don't get me wrong. But we very rarely see automatic energy discard. And this is basic or special. Now, we do see plenty of automatic special energy discard, but we don't see much automatic energy discard. Now, we do see a few here and there. So, for instance, the Morile that came out in Sword and Shield for 2 energy does 40 damage and discards an energy from your opponent's active. But that is a way more awkward attack cost, first of all. And second of all, it's a 90 HP Pokemon, which really is not going to last very long at all. Though at least I suppose you are hitting for weakness. Automatic energy discard against anything is really, really good, and it's something we should all be a little bit excited about. But it really depends what deck you're going up against. So if you're going up against something like, let's say Excadrill, one of the things that's likely to be hitting you for weakness. They're a single energy Pokemon. So maybe you discard an energy from them and then they just cannot draw another energy, but the likelihood is they will draw another energy and then they'll just attack and it's going to end up being a little bit pointless. Similarly, let's say you're against something like one of those decks with lots of energy acceleration, like a Welder deck for instance, they're probably going to be able to get the energy back, although if you get rid of enough, they won't. But let's say you're against something like a Zacian. Zacian is a free energy attacker and it sits in the active trying to attack. So if you can get rid of 1 or 2 energy, especially if you can get rid of 2, so you hit a Crushing Hammer plus this for instance. Sure, they can Metal Saucer, but they can only Metal Saucer if they're on the bench. Sure, they can use the ability to attach extra energy, but then that's going to end their turn. This is the kind of Pokemon you're going for. Single energy attackers, it will work beautifully, but they might just draw another energy. Things with energy acceleration, that's getting awkward. You're looking for the sweet spot where they're not playing energy acceleration, but they're not single energy attackers. Dragapult V Max would be another awesome example. It's a 2 energy attack, so they're generally just not playing any energy acceleration. So if you can use this while hitting a Crushing Hammer, then you're rolling. And here's what's great against something like Dragapult or something like Zacian. Yeah, fine, the first time you may well end up needing to hit Crushing Hammer as well. But then you just keep going. Or you get them before they've got the 2 energy on. So if you can get Dragapult in the active, maybe using something like Boss's Orders, then what you do is just get rid of their energy. And then next turn they attach and you get rid. And if they're not playing any energy acceleration, they end up just using the single energy attack, which does 60 damage. Now they're still doing 60 and you're doing 40, and they've got higher HP than you, but you're going to soften them up looking for a big KO. Or against something like Zacian, if you can keep them to 1 or 2 energy, they just literally will never be able to attack. It's an awkward kind of attack because I don't think it's going to work all that often, because there's too many decks that are single energy or have energy acceleration, but there are going to be a few decks here and there where this is going to make you some money. As for the attack cost, you can't use Twin Energy because you're a Pokemon V, and you can't use Triple Acceleration Energy because you're a basic, but you can use Welder, you can use Tapu Koko to put an energy on and then attach the other one from hand, which is really nice if you also want to use Powerful Colorless Energy to do 60, which will get a whole bunch of evolving Pokemon as well, which is lovely. It's a colorless energy attack, you'll probably be okay. As for the second attack, free colorless energy, 180 damage, flip a coin, if tails, this attack does nothing. Oh. I'm not sure I'm willing to risk this, if I'm honest with you, ladies and gentlemen. I'm not sure I'm willing to take this risk. You see, on the one hand, 180 damage for free colorless energy, especially given that you've got all of those options for accelerating energy. I mean, free energy is a welder and an energy. Boom, done, you're off. The problem I find here, and it is a fairly large problem, is that if you flip tails, nothing happens. You've attached free energy, you put a 2-prize Pokemon in the active, and if you flip tails, you literally just sit there giving them a free hit on your 2-prize Pokemon, which is not something you should be happy about doing. And that's a problem. Now, don't get me wrong, we do have Glimwood Tangle now. Glimwood Tangle is the stadium version of the old Victini, or the old Victini, which said that if you flipped a coin for an attack and it didn't come up in the way you wanted, you would be allowed to reflip that coin to see if you could get it the next time, which was cool. So now you got a 75% chance rather than a 50% chance of hitting 180. And here's the thing. We've seen a bunch of Pokemon lately that going second can have big attacks. This is one of the easiest of them. Welder, energy, 180 if you can flip ahead. One of the ones I looked at that we really like was Houndoom V, that does 200 for free energy, welder and an energy. If you've got any damaged fire Pokemon on your bench, bearing in mind we're also going to have Spikema Stadium, that if you take a Pokemon from the active and put it onto your bench, either by switching, retreating, etc., you place 2 damage counters on it. So you can get that rolling turn 1, but you've got to get the welder and the energy and the Pokemon from the bench to the active with the stadium out. This, if you flip aheads, is 180. And if your opponent goes first and cannot find a second basic Pokemon, and it goes to your turn, you are genuinely, legitimately going to have a chance where you're flipping a coin for the win. I mean, this will get any single prize Pokemon, pretty much. And this will get a bunch of Pokemon Vs, not all of them, but especially if you start using stuff like Vitality Band and Galarian Zigzagoon, this could be a really nice donk deck. In that you go second and take out their only Pokemon. But it's on a coin flip. And that's why I'll never play this over Houndoom. Because really, to make the most of Greedent, you've got to have the stadium, so Houndoom might as well have the stadium. And you're probably going to be using Welder to accelerate energy, and Houndoom can use Welder. So as long as you can switch or retreat the active Pokemon, and it's a fire type, Houndoom's just going to do 20 more damage and not require a coin flip. And that's kind of where we end up with Greedent. I love that we're getting a Greedent V. I think it's really cool. But the first attack, yeah, you're getting rid of energy, but how many Pokemon will that really lock out the game? And you're only doing 40 damage anyway. And the second attack does do 180, but it's on a coin flip, and I'd much rather just use Houndoom. It has a lot of potential, and it looks like it could be good, and it's almost good, but it ends up falling just a little bit short of where I'd like. I'm still giving it 3 Wassies, because it does still wreck your opponent's energy, it can still lock some Pokemon out the game, and it still can do 180 turn 1 going second. There's still a lot to like here, but I do think it falls short in a lot of areas. But I'd like to know what you think. So let me know in the comment section, would ya? Go nuts, me nice. And then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at @TheWassy, and Twitch for some live action at twitch.tv/PTCGRadio. If you want to support the channel, get some bonus podcasts and all that good stuff, head on over to patreon.com/PTCGRadio, where you can do exactly that. But by far the most important thing as always, look after yourselves till next time, would ya? Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching PTCG Radio.